Hey trackies, welcome back to another video. Please remember to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. That's how the video gets to the YouTube algorithm. Share the video if you care. I hope y'all care, so share. And yes, please, the comments sound off below. So World Athletics Continental Tour Bronze, the Memorial Walazwa Manaika. Okay, I know I butchered that. I apologize. A meeting held in Poland. Low profile, you would say, but we have a number of Jamaican athletes that are eyeing the qualification standard in individual events. So yes, we are keeping our eyes on all events or all meetings that we have Jamaicans participating in. And yeah, this one is no different. Number of the events are completed, so I just want to dive into the results. Want to kick things off with the men's 100 meters. We don't have an issue here when it comes to the qualification standard, but the athletes are keeping themselves sharp and yeah, racing race out, you see them, and I like the consistency that a number of the athletes are able to lay down. So let's dive into it. Unfortunately, Odin McPherson, who was participating for us in the 100 meters false start, so was not able to complete the race. Based on what I saw in the replay, he didn't necessarily false start as in leave the blocks, but what he did was move, or he was shifting in the block, so his feet may have triggered the actual reaction, the false start reaction, and that is how he got disqualified. So athletes need to remember that it's not just leaving the blocks, but if you're shifting on that pedal, then yes, it will register as a false start. I did see multiple athletes get false started for the same thing because I was keeping my eye on the other athletes that were, came up with the same issue to see if it was just, a thing with us or everybody was held to the same standard. So I love the fact that all the athletes were held to the same standard. And yes, unfortunately for Odin McPherson, a learning lesson. He will know that next time he's in the blocks, he keeps as steady as possible. Now, taking the win, Ryiem Ford, he was fourth at our national championships, running a 9.98 seconds here, managed to run a 10.07 seconds. As I would say, keeping pretty consistent in the performance that I've seen him do post our national championship. So I expect, by the time we get around to world championships, where hopefully we will definitely see him as part of our 4x100 meters, he will be ready and in great shape again to run super fast and assist us to what is my opinion is a gold medal. Now in second place was Kadrian Golson, and he ran at 10.10 seconds, also remaining very consistent as well as it relates to his performances post the trial. So no complaints here from me. And also track A's, we had Travis Williams competing as well, and he ran at 10.42 seconds. Recently, leaving college. So it's interesting that I see him here competing, with these clubs, these Jamaican clubs. I'm wondering if he's now a part of one of them, which is why he's there, in Europe competing with these athletes. But let's see as time progresses for him. Happy that he's, continuing, in the sport and track and field, because a lot of them after, college don't really stand much of a chance as it relates to the professional, setup, right? So it's really tough on them. I can see that he's not yet a professional athlete. So with that being said, I know it costs a pretty penny for him to be continuing on without that additional support. I'm wishing him all the best in his endeavors, and I'm hoping that, he'll be able to get a breakthrough at some particular point in time. All right, so Trackers, I want to dive over into the men's 200 meters. Now, we had a number of athletes competing in the 200 meters, also a number of heats. So in Heat B, we had Odin McPherson rallying back around from his disappointment in the 100 meters, and also Travis Williams was supposed to start. Unfortunately, he did not start. That being said, Odin McPherson came back in the 200 meters where he was third in that race, and he ran a 20.84 seconds there. Now, over to that main men's 200 meters, the one where we had Christopher Taylor, and of course he's eyeing a actual spot, the qualification standard, I should say, not a spot because he did get the spot, but qualification standard for competing for Jamaica at the World Championships. So far, two of the three actually have the qualification standard, and only Christopher Taylor is left not with the standard. So really, really, supporting him and cheering him on in his endeavors. So yeah, in this particular meeting, of course, the hope was that he could potentially get below that standard, which is a 20.16 seconds. Now in the race with him, he had the likes of Kadrian Golson and also Bryan. Kadrian Golson rallying back around from competing in the 100 meters. Now, taking the win was Bryan Lavelle, and he ran at 20.26 seconds. Behind him, Christopher Taylor in second, 20.35 seconds. And in third place was Kadrian Golson. He ran at 20.44 seconds, which is a new personal best for him. So, seeing improvements there. And yeah, Jamaica goes 1, 2, 3 in the men's 200 meters. Now, of course, the first thing you heard me say is Bryan Lavelle took the win 20.26 seconds, which means that, unfortunately for Christopher Taylor, 20.35 was not able to get to the standard yet again. And I feel like he just needs to get to meetings that have better conditions. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the Pan American Games because that's, I believe, what's up next for him, Pan Am Champs. So let's see if he'll be able to get it. I believe that he should be able to get it once he goes there, as long as the conditions are good, right? Because that is also a factor. But some of these low key meetings in Europe don't necessarily have the best conditions, the best track. So you may not get, the best performances, from these particular competitions. But as I said, when he comes back on this side of the world, let's see how he's able to compete. I love the fact that in this race, to me, it seems as though he was holding on to Bryan Lavelle. He was kind of using Bryan Lavelle as a gauge, in my opinion, and making sure that, Bryan Lavelle didn't leave him. So I loved that, right? But unfortunately, as I said, the time just wasn't quite fast enough for Bryan Lavelle. No harm, no foul. Definitely, looking stronger and stronger every time I see him. Actually, I had no idea he was so big. Like, I was looking at him in comparison to Kadrian Golson, and I was like, huh? When was Bryan Lavelle bigger than all these people? You know what I mean? I could have sworn he was a little teeny weeny bopper in high school just a few years ago. But yeah, it seems as though he's really, really tall, and now he has the muscle to go with it. So he really stands out. He looks, really, really bulky. So let's see, what happens with him by the time he heads on over to the World Championships. Actually, my only, thing with Bryan Lavelle when it comes to, competition on the highest level is, of course, him being able to execute on the day, right? He's troubled with that. I remember last year as well, he wasn't able to execute his best race, at the Olympic Games. So I'm hoping that this time around with more development, right? And this comes over time, Chucky. So I'm not necessarily rushing him. I don't want y'all to think that's what I'm doing. Y'all know I love me some Bryan Lavelle, and I've been very, very patient since he's left high school, waiting for this moment for him to break out, and he's breaking out. So I'm really, really excited. But yeah, from a development standpoint, yes, when it comes to being able to go out there and execute, your best races when you need to. Yeah, he hasn't been able to do that just yet, right? So I'm hoping that, we will see, a change per se when we head off to the World Championships. And if we do get, those better performances, round by round execution, then yeah, Bryan Lavelle is definitely going to be in the conversation, because after that 9.82, may I tell you, say, Bryan Lavelle is giving me not just 19.7 like what we saw, which was, done in a wind above the allowable, but we may get 19.7 slash 19.6, and some of y'all are gonna call me crazy. I don't care. This young man is so promising, and I'm absolutely loving it. Anyway, trackies, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.